Hello, friends. The Prakarana, the kind of play which MRICHCHKATIKAM is, and which actually constitutes of 10 acts, making several themes obvious to us of the time that was 500 AD. 5 AD. The poverty is one of the most central theme of the play. We begin with the character of Charudat, who is a poor Brahmin who has given away his wealth in an effort to rid other people who are more poor than he is. So, it is the first point of importance that the play makes. How does poverty decide the fortunes of the people? Some would be driven to theft, and some would maintain their dignity and remain dheer uddat, which is a Sanskrit word, dheer uddat. Dheer is patient and uddat is sublime. So he is the patiently sublime character, and the outline story which I am going to relate today is about this Dhiroddat character, Charudat, and to match to his goodness is the goodness of the Nagarvadhu, that is the prostitute Vasantasena. MRICHCHKATIKAM is a 10-act Sanskrit drama attributed to Shudrak, an ancient playwright who is possibly from the 5th century CE and who is identified by the prologue as a Kshatriya king as well as a devotee of Shiva. And this Shudrak is supposed to have lived for 100 years. The play is set in the ancient city of Ujjaini during the reign of the king Palak. And the central story is about that impoverished young Brahmin and his love with the wealthy courtesan Vasantasena. Rife with romance, comedy, intrigue, and political subplot, dealing the overthrow of the city's despotic ruler by a shepherd. The play is notably among extant Sanskrit drama for its focus on a fictional scenario rather than on a classical tale or legend. MRICHCHKATIKAM also departs from the traditions enumerated in the Natya Shastra that specify that drama should focus on the lives of the nobility and instead incorporates many peasant characters who speak a wide range of Prakrit dialects. So the language is the local language, no sublimity, and the character too is not from the nobility. The story is thought to be derived from an earlier work called Charudatta in Poverty, which is the title of the play, written by Bhasa. Which actually, this work, Charudatta in Poverty, has come over to us only in fragments. So, the fragments are supposed to have been the founding stone for the uplifting of the theme of this MRICHCHKATIKAM. Now, coming to the story, it is that Charudatta is a generous young man who through his charitable contributions to unlucky friends and the idea for the general public welfare, has actually severely impoverished himself and his family. So much so that his son, who must have played with gold toys, is now reduced to find his recreation with clay carts, and which is the title of this drama. Though deserted by most of his friends and embarrassed by deteriorating living conditions, Charudatta has been able to retain his reputation in Ujjaini, the place of which he is the resident, as a very honest and upright man, and with a rare gift of wisdom, and many important men continue to seek his counsel. Though happily married and the recent father of a young man, Rohasena, Charudatta comes to be enamored by Vasantsena, a courtesan of great wealth and reputation. At a chance encounter at the temple of Kama, she returns his affection, though the matter becomes complicated when Vasantsena finds herself pursued by Samsthanak, a half-mad brother-in-law of King Pala, and his retinue. When the men threaten violence, Vasantsena flees, seeking safety with the man Charudatta, which actually happens as a coincidence. She never knew that she is entering the home of Charudatta. But when she does, and on the route while she was running forward, and knowing that she was being hounded by Samsthanak, she had all the while taken away her jewelry, which was making the clicking sound and which was giving the hint where she was for the Samsthanak to follow her. So she had tied all her valuables in a piece of cloth, and which she puts down at the residence of Charudatta. Things take a happy turn when, they take an unhappy turn when Charudatta finds that there is someone's gold lying in his residence, and he becomes cautious for the custody of which, and asks his friend to take care of this. Their love, and in the course of time, Charudatta and Vasantsena come to have an affair. Their love blossoms following the clandestine meeting, and the courtesan entrusts her new lover with a casket of jewelry in an attempt to ensure a future meeting. Her plan is thwarted, however, when a thief, Sarvilaka, taking advantage of the sleeping caretaker of this jewelry, picks it up only in an effort to have his beloved freed from the residence of Vasantsena, and whose name is Madanika. So in order to retrieve the freedom of Madanika, he places the jewelry in the hand of Madanika and says, place it with your mistress and maybe this buys your freedom. But Madanika is alarmed because she was the chief attendant on Vasantsena, and she identifies the jewelry immediately as hers. And this jewelry, she says, she finds a plan how to do it, and she says, you go and talk to Vasantsena and tell her that this you have found somewhere. Vasansena, however, cannot reconcile to the idea that this jewelry should come back to her. She, however, does not reveal the truth to the man and says, you can take away Madanika for in return for this jewelry. Now, things, as soon as Charudatta come to realize that the jewelry has been stolen, he takes a very precious necklace from his wife and sends it with his friend Maitreya to Vasansena, saying that this was a gift in return for the valuables he has by some chance lost. Vasansena is in fact reminded of, she realizes the fact that Charudat is such a grand person, is such an Uddat, the sublime man who will go to the extent of parting away with the last remnant of his riches with him. So she then comes and visits them, and seeing in the meantime the child is weeping over not having the gold cart with him, and he insists that he should have a gold cart. Vasansena has come back with the jewelry, and she entrusts the jewelry back on the clay cart and asks the child to have a gold cart made for himself. Things develop further, and in fact, in recognition of this, Charudatta's friend Maitreya cautions the Brahman against further association, fearing that Vasansena is at worst scheming to take from Charudatta the few possessions he still has, and at best a good intentioned bastion of bad luck and disaster. Refusing to take his advice, Charudatta makes Vasansena his mistress, and she eventually meets his young son. During the encounter, she places her jewelry on his cart. Vasansena fills this cart with jewelry, heaping his humble toy, and while she is just moving out, Charudatta has decided that she has sent a word to Vasansena to finally sort out this relationship to a reconciliation, when mistakenly Charudatta mounts the chariot of the villain Samsthanaka, and while she reaches there, she, in the effort to escape from him, from his clutches, there is a struggle, and Samsthanaka hits her mortally wounded. And thinking her dead, he covers her body. Realizing the horror of the situation that he has incurred, he covers her body with a cloth and vanishes from the scene. In the meantime, the gold that has been retrieved from Charudatta's home, the gold which Vasansena had put in the clay cart, the MRICHCHKATIKAM, this is found out, and that Vasansena has disappeared for quite much time. The crisis then falls upon Charudatta. He is sent for a trial, saying that for this gold he has murdered Vasansena. But also, when once Vasansena had saved, her servant had saved one Buddhist monk from a stampede which an elephant had created, this very this Buddhist monk comes back to her rescue and applies medicine on her wounded body such that she comes back to consciousness, only to go back and stop the hanging of Charudatta. They are ultimately reconciled, and this novel marks a very special end to this novel, that despite the fact that Charudatta had been unloyal to his wife and has had his affair with Vasant Sena, the play ends such that the three are proclaimed to come to a reconciliation together, and this infidelity to wife is waved off. So, this is the story, outline story of MRICHCHKATIKAM, and we will try to find out what are the basic features, the basic themes, and why does this play come to have a reputation to be put on stage several times, and in fact this is the most staged of all Indian ancient plays because of its very revolutionary approach towards writing down the story, approach towards highlighting the various themes which were not the ones prescribed in Natya Shastra. So we'll see that in the later lectures. This is all for today. Thank you.